It's Marilee Wolf with Compass Real Estate, here to talk about where we just came from. Last quarter of 2022 in real estate, and where the experts are projecting we're going to be headed in 2023. Let's review the past few years first. Going into 2020, we already had an aggressive seller's market. We had a real supply and demand issue, but that was exacerbated by COVID, which really contributed to the housing boom. Either people decided that they were not going to put their house on the market because they felt that their house, they liked the size of it, they didn't want to downsize, they wanted the space, and so that contributed to less listings coming on. Or they decided that their house was way too small and no longer sufficient for them, or they wanted to get out of the city and go into the suburbs, and that created an even bigger buyer pool. So with higher demand, of course, comes higher prices, right? Across the country, we were seeing some pretty aggressive home price appreciation. Nationally, that looked like about 10%. In the past few years. In the greater Philadelphia area, we were actually topping out at around 18% home price appreciation. Just to put that into context, a normal home price appreciation is going to be more along the lines of 3 to 4%. To offset that, we had very low interest rates, mortgage interest rates that were historically low. So that, of course, really helped people be able to afford these higher prices. And it kept things moving in kind of a wildfire fashion in the real estate market. And that was until about third quarter of 2022. Now, 2022 was still a very, very strong year in real estate. And while the story of inflation and the raising interest rates did temper what was happening in third and fourth quarters, we still saw some very strong gains in home price appreciation. And here in the Philadelphia area, we have still seen and continue to see multiple offers and home prices going over asking. Now, I will qualify that by saying that these days, if a home seller still thinks it's the beginning of 2022 and is pricing way up here when that house should be priced there, they are not going to get the multiple offers, and that house is probably going to sit. So here is what we saw at the very end, fourth quarter of 2022 for the greater Philadelphia area for the average price, the number of listings on the market, and what we call the absorption rate. What's absorption rate? It's the number of months that it would take for the existing home inventory to absorb or get sold into the buyer pool. So if the market froze right now and there were 100 houses on the market, how many months would it take for that 100 house inventory to sell to all of the buyers out there? A balanced market is around 6 months. Anything below that is a seller's market. Anything above that is considered a buyer's market. So let's take a look at Montgomery, Delaware, Chester, Bucks, and Philadelphia counties. I'm getting my data straight from the Bright MLS. Montgomery County, the average sale price was up almost 10% at $463,538 at the end of fourth quarter. The number of homes for sale was down 35%, and the absorption rate was less than 1 month. The average sale price in Delaware County up 7% by the end of fourth quarter at 385,628. The number of homes for sale was down 37.5%, and the month supply just 1 month. The average sale price for Chester County was up 10.5%, and that took it to $507,563. The number of homes for sale down 26.5%, and the month supply, again, just 1 month. Where things start to change a bit is Philadelphia County, and that makes sense because we did have a lot of people deciding to move out of the city for a number of reasons. So there we saw the average sale price down about 4% at $308,401 for the average sale price. The number of homes for sale was also down, as it was with all of the other counties, but this Philadelphia was down 19%. The month supply in Philadelphia is greater though. That is 3.1%, but that is still a very aggressive seller's market. So the market is not crashing, is it? No, we are still seeing very strong home price appreciation happening here in the greater Philadelphia area. And we will continue to see that in 2023. Now, the interest rates, the higher interest rates are going to temper that from the crazy home price appreciations that we saw in the preceding years. But let's keep it in context. Again, we were in an historical time where the interest rates were so very, very low and the demand was so very, very high. So if we see this year a 3 to 4% increase, that is normal. That is not the sky falling. So let's talk about interest rates right now and how they both affect buyers and potential home sellers. On the buyer end, it's obvious. People are feeling like, oh my gosh, we missed the boat. We should have bought when the interest rates were 3%, and now they're up in the 6s and the high 5s. The fact of the matter is that's still a great rate. And if the rates come way down again, home buyers who are purchasing at those higher rates should be able to refinance at the lower rate. Now, how does that affect potential home sellers? If a home seller, and so many people did this, when the rates came down really low, if a home seller refinanced their big house at 2.875%, it's a tough pill to swallow to say, well, let's trade that house, that bigger house, for a downsized house, but we're going to be paying 6% on that house. So that is causing a lot of home sellers to pause and say, well, let's not sell the house, which is further exacerbating that supply and demand problem. On a national level for 2023, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors is predicting that we will see more stable prices and that things are going to temper a bit because of inflation and the interest rates. There's going to be more traditional negotiating with inspections and contingencies in there. So that's nationally. I think in the greater Philadelphia area, and my friends in the greater Harrisburg area who are realtors are saying they're seeing a similar trend going into 2023. We are still going to have a bit of a more aggressive market than the rest of the country. And we are already, I'm seeing multiple bids, and I'm seeing those aggressive offers coming in without contingencies. But I do think that it will be, even in the greater Philadelphia area, a bit of a more stable market and a more tempered market. So bottom line, it's still a great time to sell, and it's still a good time to to buy. And I know I sound like a typical realtor when I say that, but you should have listened to me back in 2021 when I said, oh my gosh, it's a great time to buy and sell, because the interest rates were so low and your home price appreciation was up to here. So there. So anyhow, I hope this helps. If you would like specific information about your neighborhood, the street you live on, the township you're in, just reach out to me. I am happy to gather that data for you. Bye.